Hi everyone, I'm Becky Jane Stevenson, the OCD Warrior Transformation Mentor and the creator of the OCD Warriors Way membership community. So this video is about the difference between acceptance and agreement. So this is another question that came up that I've been noticing more and more of within the forums and support groups that I'm quite active in. One of the bumps in the road when people are working towards recovery and remission from OCD is when they feel like the anxiety they normally feel with an obsession or an intrusive thought is no longer present, or it's not as strong, or when they're doing exposure response prevention and they're working on accepting the thoughts being there and they're working on not attaching that meaning and that erroneous belief to it, that it sometimes becomes confused that we're agreeing with the thoughts by allowing them to be there. So I wanted to do a really quick video just explaining the difference between the two of them. So agreement, the definition is the absence of incompatibility between two things, i.e. meaning, harmony and congruent with each other. So agreement literally means you are agreeing what the thoughts are saying. You are agreeing that you want those things, that you want what in your intrusive thoughts are saying. You want that it's in line with who you are, that they're in line with your values. But OCD thoughts are ego dystonic, which means they're against who we are, our values, our moral compass, the things that are important to us. Otherwise they wouldn't distress us so much. So therefore, we can't really be agreeing with them because they're not congruent with who we are. The definition of acceptance, which is what we do when we work towards recovery, acceptance is a willingness to work towards tolerance. So there's a big difference between the two, and many people get stuck on mixing confusing one with the other. So it's having a willingness to work towards tolerance, or having tolerance that intrusive thoughts are there. So that's what acceptance is. Acceptance is you are accepting the fact that you no longer have to fight against these thoughts. You no longer have to keep attaching meaning to ideas that pop up in your head and there's no evidence to support them. There's nothing to suggest that they will ever happen and that they're just an idea. So you're accepting, okay, they can be there. I don't have to agree with them. I know they're not something I want. So it doesn't really matter if they're there or not. It's about being confident in your sense of self and knowing who you are as a person, that actually a thought is just a thought. And it's about tolerating the fact the thoughts are there, that they're likely always going to be there because the brain thinks it's a thinking machine. And everybody, OCD or not, has unwanted, weird, creative, disturbing, shit thoughts. Everybody in this whole wide world has those randoms, what the fuck thoughts. We all do. And it's about having the tolerance to allow them to be there, because essentially that's how OCD is created. It's created through not having a tolerance for uncertainty, not having a tolerance to having thoughts that aren't always happy, having thoughts that are creative and disturbing. It's having that intolerance. So when we work towards recovery and remission, we're building that tolerance level up where we can have any disturbing thought and think, nah, you can be there. It doesn't have to impact my day because what I'm doing right now is more important than that. And you can acknowledge it. You don't have to buy into it. That's what acceptance is. Acceptance is not buying into what these thoughts are saying. Agreement is completely different. Just because we're accepting a thought and we're no longer feeling anxiety around it, or that anxiety is reducing, does not mean that we now want those things. It simply means we are desensitizing ourselves and we're seeing the thoughts for what they truly are, an over creative product of the imagination. That's all they are. They are not fact. They are not evidence-based. That is the difference between agreement and acceptance.